Welcome to Live Stories, a podcast that holds space for inspirational interactions that are real about navigating the challenging journey of separation and divorce. Expect laughter and some tears. It's all welcomed because Lived Stories is meant to be a safe space. And today I'm here kicking it with my girl, my dear friend, the one and only Vanessa Holliday.
How you
Vanessa,
doing, Liz?
hey.
How's it going?
First of all, I'm not even going to pretend, you guys, this conversation has been a battle, which means it's going to be a deep conversation because I've tried to get Vanessa. We've tried to do this for 3 times now. So you know this conversation is going to be good. But Vanessa, thank you so much for saying yes to this. Thank you so much for joining me. For my community, I think you guys know my format. I asked my guests to share with me 1 or 2 sentences about, their intro, meant for me to kind of get a feel for the energy they want to provide. And V's was so real and so herself. And I'm going to read it to you guys so you can kind of understand what's about to happen. She writes, I am a Brooklynite, and if you know, you know. So we're Brooklyn in the house, without a doubt. She also writes,
That's right.
I'm also a soft place for family and friends to land. Life is hard. I am passionate about my faith walk, striving to keep my heart and mind aligned. So good. So good.
Yes,
She's doing
yes.
a
I'm a
dance for those of you who can't
Brooklynite.
see. So good. And this has hit me so hard too, V, because I can honestly say that you are a soft place for
Mm.
me. And we'll get into that later on in our conversation. But I just wanted to just say that outwardly. But how are you? How are you feeling? How's your heart?
I am doing good. Live is right. We've been trying to do this for a couple of times, so we know we got something to say.
We got
Uh,
something to say.
yes, and you're right. I'm a Brooklynite. That means I speak as though my opinions are facts. I sound
That's
like
so
I'm angry when I'm not. I'm gonna say yo once I start to really relax.
true.
Uh, and I am a soft place to land for my family and friends. I want to
That's
be
true.
there for them. Life
That's
is
true.
tough, and they got enough
Um,
judgments going on out there.
so
And my faith is everything, and so hopefully that will come out as well. So I'm
mhm.
trying to walk this
Yeah,
journey,
yeah.
head and heart intact.
Love this. Love you. Love you, V.
I love you too, girl.
So let's take it back into time. I feel like so for to ground our listeners and viewers, Vanessa is currently married. She's married to Pastor Craig H. Shout out to Craig Holiday, everybody. And but before she was married to Craig, she was married she was married before. So we're going to talk about her first marriage and we're going to talk about that journey and then we're going to land at her current marriage because she is a beacon of hope. Her and her husband are a beacon of hope for so many who are aspiring to be black love personified. So
Yeah.
V, like, let's get into it. So I know we're gonna go back in time.
Yes,
Like,
yes, we're gonna
talk
go
me
back in
through
the
that.
times of landlines and payphones. So I was married for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
1995.
Mm-hmm.
Married in 1995. I had dated about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
We got married in May and Liv, I was separated by February of the next
What?
year. Yes. So technically married for over 2 years, but practically speaking, less than a
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
We made less than a year.
Yeah.
So
How
that
long
was
was that dating before?
before 5 years.
Wait, so
So
you were dating for 5, got married, and then made, and then February. So like unpack that for me. What in the world?
yeah, yeah, that's what I said. What in the world? So dating quite a long time. So almost like, okay, this is the next step. We've been married, we've been dating all this time, so obviously we need to get married. That's a whole
Mm-hmm.
other story where you think because you put the time in that naturally you should continue on the path.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we continued on, married in May, large wedding at a
Yeah.
very large church, over
Doing the
300
big.
people. And here I am I had left my home church, went to another church,
Mm-hmm.
and in February, I'm coming back solo. Just me.
Wow.
Just me.
Wow. So what happened in the time, do you think, I know hindsight's 2020, after you got married? Like, did it all of a sudden just get poor? Like what happened?
Yeah, you know what? There were, and I say this to women when I'm speaking to them, there were yellow flags while
Mm-hmm.
we were
Mm-hmm.
dating that I just ignored. I rationalized away.
Mm-hmm.
There were trips without me.
Mm,
There was spoken reservations from him that I
mm,
convinced him was just cold feet.
mm.
Um, there were people who I would say not who weren't believers. That's the term we use. Who weren't in my
Okay.
Christian church. Who let me know some of their reservations
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in a not so subtle way, like that's not you.
Mm,
The way we speak, that's not you.
mm-hmm.
He doesn't love God.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's not going away by himself. So I got a couple little clues and
Mm.
ignored all of them and still went past that and continued on and got married. And then when we were married, it just live, you can exist. You can live with anyone, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I've heard someone say, don't live with a person you can live with. Marry the person you can't live without.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
married the person I could live with because he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't argumentative. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't hostile. He's actually pretty quiet, pretty
Mm-hmm.
serene, but something was missing. Something was
Mm-hmm.
missing.
Mm-hmm.
That, and soon afterwards, he let me know that he never wanted to marry me and that he did not love me.
Mouth wide open.
So that was a gut punch. Here I am, not even a year in the bed with a husband that's letting me know, yeah, I don't want this. I don't want this.
So I have two questions from what you said. I want to go back to the yellow flags. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you think we as women ignore those yellow/red flags? Like you see it, like what do you think is happening in our mind? It's like, yeah, what do you think that is?
Yeah, I think a desire to have something we've conjured up in our minds,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
a desire to have whatever we dreamed of, especially in the Christian faith, where
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
married sometimes is like the ultimate goal. We
Right.
continue forward on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a whole other story where we make marriage the goal and it's not
Mm-hmm.
for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew what I wanted and I didn't want anyone to tell me otherwise. And you and I spoke briefly before, and I was telling you how I did not give people permission to speak into my life. I
Mm-hmm.
I did not give those that I love the freedom to tell me exactly what they thought, what they were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
you and I talked about how I tell women you have to have that board of directors around your
I love
life
that. Get you a
that can
board of directors.
truly speak into your life and guide your life. Companies have board of directors. You need to have one over your life. And it doesn't have to be someone rich or successful. It's your
Mm-hmm.
mom, it's your aunt,
Mm-hmm.
it's that teacher that knew you from way back when.
Yeah.
And back then,
Yeah.
I did not give people the freedom to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
You
I knew
knew.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
educated, I'm intelligent.
Right.
If I can't see it, how you see it?
Ooh, that's so real, V. Because I have to say that there were yellow and red flags in my
Mm,
journey. Even on like the day of my wedding, I remember in the basement
mm,
having a breakdown. There were actually two red flag moments that I should have checked myself around, like, what is this feeling? And it reads cold feet, but I really wish I
mm,
knew myself enough to ask, what is driving, what are you unsure about, right? And really like have a board of directors to be safe enough to say, listen, y'all, I don't have something, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
can help,
Yeah.
so someone can pour
Something's
into
not right.
me. Something
Something's
isn't
not
right.
right.
And I remember it being the day of the wedding. I'm downstairs in the church. My makeup lady is putting on the final touches, and I am terrified and I am crying. And because I knew, but I thought it's too late. My mama done already
Yeah.
paid for, we're already all the things all the things that made me proceed, because I proceeded despite listening to my true self, and like,
Mm.
this ain't you. You said it, I'm gonna use your words. This
Yeah.
ain't you. But I wanted to fit into the box of what I thought this person needed. And I completely shifted and changed. And I forced myself down the aisle. And people who saw me crying were like, oh my God, she's breaking
She's
down.
so
It
happy.
was like, no, I'm terrified. But
Hey, can I tell you, I gotta say, my first husband, he might have had your moment and did not have the courage to
courage.
say not to do it. Of course, I would have been devastated there,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Left at an altar.
mhm.
But you and I spoke before, and I said one of my words is courage. It takes courage to stand on your quote unquote truth. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
this is not for me.
Mhm.
And not having that, and the ego and the pride,
Mm,
like we so far
guilty,
down the path, I'm not
guilty,
stopping. When
guilty.
we do my the husband I have now, when we do premarital with couples, a lot of times we like to do that before the ring is on the finger,
Mm-hmm.
because when you do
Oh,
it
okay.
after the ring is on the finger, it is very hard to get a couple that now realizes they either need to
Comfortable.
defer or wait or not do it. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hard to get that ring off the finger.
Oh, that's
And
good, B. So get counseling if you think, before you think you're about to get proposed to, or before you propose, get you a board of directors that includes pastors who are married now for some long times to ask you some of those questions. That's a clue, you all. That's a
yeah,
cheat code.
if you're
Mm-hmm.
able to do that, you're now serious enough that you think you're going to do this. If possible, yeah, get that, go through a counseling session ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Oh,
to
God.
reveal everything, but just
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
sure, yeah, this could work. We might have
Mm-hmm.
some problems, but we got momentum here. And
Mm-hmm.
so I definitely would do that. But now we went through premarital, my
Ooh,
first
okay.
marriage, but we were engaged and everything was fine. But
Mm.
again, I was sure he was not.
And so he
And
never even, and you said he gave you reservations, but you chalked it up to cold feet.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and I still press forward. But had I allowed people to tell me what they saw,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I would have had a different perspective. Because when I was going through my separation, even my dad was like, I never liked him. My dad was like, I never
Well,
liked him.
dang, Dad, why you ain't
yeah, yeah,
now?
yeah.
So I wonder what that is, though. So you said earlier that you didn't give people permission to really tell it to you like
Mm-hmm.
it is. So part of that, but also too, I feel like people who see you happy, they also don't want to make you like feel bad.
Yes, you you're right. You're right. Some of it wasn't malicious in any way.
Mhm.
It's she seems happy. So who am I
Yeah.
to go in there and say, "Are you sure?" Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, and folks may have come up to you and said,
Mm-hmm.
"Liv, you sure you want to do this?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're like, "Of course. Why are you asking me
Mm-hmm.
that? You just jealous because you ain't got a man." You know, it's like one of
Yeah,
those.
no,
Like
that's
you ain't got
facts.
a man.
Yeah, I will
It's like,
say though, yeah. So my situation, so you talked about you leaving your church and kind of going to a different church. Like I came from a whole different city, being
mm,
implanted into this situation in this church, and it was like almost like fanfare. So it was like such happiness that even though I
mm,
was like, I just went along with the happiness and the fanfare because it was just so big and such a like, oh my God
yes,
moment that
yes.
I just went with the flow, not even So I thought I had to change who I am to my core because I'd given my life to
Mm,
Christ. And, I wasn't exactly a born again Christian and believing in purity and all of that back then. So
right,
my inclination, even when I first met my ex-husband, wasn't one of like, ooh, it was like, but then no, I'm gonna keep it a buck. It wasn't that. That actually is a
right,
flag. That
right.
actually is
That is
something
a
to
flag.
consider, but I didn't know myself enough in Christianity. So
Mm-hmm.
I doubted even those things I knew about me, right? And
Wow.
so like
Yes.
and I wasn't a new Christian because I was saved when I was in college, but I wasn't like living
Mm-hmm.
right. So in
Right.
my newness in the walking, I thought I had to put away all that I knew to be true about me and what was important
Yeah.
then for this new, but I was changing my core because
That
I thought
is.
that is what Proverbs 31 said, and all those weaponizing scripture because I thought, well, that's what it has to be. Without, I didn't have a board of directors. I love that. I'm gonna steal that speaking into me either, because then they probably would have asked me like, "Are you sure?" And I probably would have been like, "Nah, but isn't this what it is?"
And Liv, can I tell you, unfortunately, in Christian circles, women sometimes are just taught to shrink into
Mm-hmm.
whoever their husband is. And
Mm-hmm.
in the ceremony where you have the lighting of the unity candles, you have those two candles, they come together, you light the one candle, and you blow out the other two, and the two become one. And that is the goal of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But now what Craig does, he has them lighted, but he doesn't blow out those two other candles because you are still a
Oh,
person. You still have gifts and talents
I
that
love
God
that.
wants to have you use to glorify Him. And many
Mm-hmm.
times, women, we've like lost ourselves in our husbands.
That's true. That's real.
You
That's
know,
real.
what do you like? I like whatever you like. What do you want to do? I want to
Mm-hmm.
do whatever you want to do. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's not what it's supposed to be. And a lot of times we were taught that. I remember when you came and I know your ex-husband, and he was popular, and him getting married was a big deal,
It was a
dating,
huge
engaged, and it
deal.
was,
Yeah.
like you said, the fanfare, like everyone was thrilled. And so imagine if you decided you didn't want to.
Right? Girl, they would
You
have
would have
came
been a
for me.
villain. You would
No,
have been
I
a
no, I'd have
villain.
been crucified. No, like
You're like, oh, really? That's how she want to do? All right.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's honest. That's honest. And I felt that. I felt that to my core. And so I didn't speak. I just went with
Wow.
it. And I thought, well, let me just not say anything because I didn't think I could say it. I
Yeah.
didn't have the courage. I didn't feel safe.
You did. No psychological safety was there at all. You're right. Because another thing from Brooklyn, we ride and die with who our friends are. So you're
Right.
right.
And it
By
was
then,
in yep.
I would have been like, oh,
Mm.
really? That's how Liv is? All right. Not a problem. She's dead to us. It'd have
She
been like that.
I would have been deaded 100%, 100%. But let's circle back to your story. So married tells you, I don't want to be married anymore. I don't love you, V.
Oh my
What did
goodness.
it do to you? I know
Let
it's
me
a
tell you.
like pull that in, but what was that?
Yeah, no, no. This is real. When he said that to me, because I was raised in a church and taught the only way you could get a divorce is if there's adultery,
Mhm.
I foolishly said, I wish you would just sleep with someone so I could get a divorce. Like, all right,
Oh,
isn't that silly? So silly.
but no, that actually is like if you don't know any better, 100%. So I can be out
So, so
legally.
I so
Mhm.
I could be out legally, and I already come from a string of strong women. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I'll be all right. Yo, I just need to do
Mhm.
this the right way so the Lord is not upset with me, although
Mhm.
I'm telling you to do something wrong. But I'm like, all right, let me get out of this joint. So I
Mhm.
foolishly said that. We went to one spiritual counseling session. So we
Mhm.
never got professional marriage
Oh.
counseling. We went to one conversation with the senior pastor at that time, and that didn't go well.
Mhm.
And soon after, he left. Soon after, we were separated, and he went back home.
Avi, what do
Um,
you mean by it didn't go well? Like he didn't want the therapy. You like what does that mean?
well, So we got the spiritual counseling, and sometimes pastors are not trained in counseling, right? So where if you would have gone to a professional counselor, it's almost like arbitration. You know, you tell your story, now you tell your story, and now let me tell you what I heard.
Right.
It was more one. It might have been a little one-sided because it was the church I grew up in. So you know, this
Okay.
maybe a little bit on my side, and it was confrontational. Like,
Okay.
you're going away by yourself. You're not going away alone. You're going away with someone, and you and I had a a black man. They don't want to be spoken to in that fashion.
Right.
And so when we went home that night, I slept on the couch. It was it was one of those. Okay, I'm not going for it. And there was no. He did not want to reconcile, so it was out. So soon after he left, and I was alone. But and I found out he actually did have someone else. So I'm not trying to harp on that, but he did have someone else, and even when we were dating, he had someone else. And if I had a board of directors, they probably would have spoken a little more directly to me about something else is going on, girl. So one person told me he's not going away by himself, but that was someone that wasn't in the church that cheats a lot, so I discounted it. But if my homegirl tells me, then I'm gonna think about it twice. But in any case, he leaves, and then for a whole year trying to reconcile. For a whole year, I'm willing to forgive. If he wants to work it out, I'll work it out. Something I never thought I would do. Like, I was like, if you cheat once, I'm done. Don't need a man. I got this. And here I am saying, I don't want to be a statistic, Lord. I want my marriage to work. I'm praying. I have people praying. I have a whole church praying. And for a whole year, seeking the Lord, asking him to reconcile. And you know what? It did not happen. It did not happen. And after a year, something in me knew it's done. This, Lord, I'm done. I don't want it anymore. Went to the church, said, I'm filing for divorce. And it was like, I had the blessing and did that. So I was, again, divorced in 95. I mean, married in 95, separated in 96, and divorced in, I guess, 98. Yeah.
So V, what was your process? Okay, I'm filing for divorce. Like, what resources did you go to? Like, how did you uncouple? Bringing up
Yeah. Thankfully, at my job, I had a relatively good job. I had a connection. I had a legal service benefit. And really, I leveraged that. We weren't married long. We were equally employed. No assets that we needed to divide. Renting an apartment. We had our own cars. So mine was relatively simple. What's interesting is that he's the one that did not want the divorce. I did not want the marriage, but I was the one that had to file for the divorce. That's the whole other thing where women always have to take the initiative. So see what he would do it. But it's like, all right, let me do this. So really, I didn't have a lot of resources, but thankfully, in my situation, I did not need a lot of counsel. I didn't have children. I'm sure that would have complicated everything, but I didn't have to deal with that.
So did you guys have shared friends? And I'm gonna be petty because I am. Did you have to like choose like who's getting which friend? Like what was that?
Listen, that would have been messy. Thankfully, he came into my friend group. He came into my church world. He came into my friend world, and they were very welcoming of him because of me, on the strength of me. He did not bring me too deeply into his world because he had another world. Like his other world included the other chick. So I met, the family in the whole nine, and the family knew. I'm not gonna try to put them on blast, but family knew. So it was my world, so my friends. So the same way I told you when you first came in, it was like, oh, okay, you done? My friends was like, all right. How did he even get in the group? That's how my friends was like, yo, how did you even bring him in? Now I'm getting real facts. And nobody knew why you were with him anyway. So,
oh, yo. For the real ones who seeing something and you see your friend, please be honest with your friend. If your friend is a real one, they'll listen. I mean, timing is everything for sure for my listeners, but like if you see something, say something. Look,
And
because
let me, I live by that. I've had to say that to a very good friend, and it causes tension.
it
In the
does.
short term, it causes tension. In the short term, they may not speak to you. In the long run, they like,
Yeah, she was
you got
right.
my back. I got you. I'm with that with friends. If you want to know, I'm going to tell you. In my opinion, and I always assume I could be wrong, but here's what I am observing. I'm just going to give you my observations, and I'm going to try not to give you any evaluation on it. Here's what I've observed. You don't have a point of view when he's around. And I know you to be one that has a point of view. So what's going on? Because we shrink sometimes to be with a man. We want to be what they want us to be, and that you can't keep that up. You got to be your real self.
You really can. And shout out to you for your honesty, and you always are just so authentic to you, because I remember, so going back to my story, my journey, it's like we're interweaving them. So fanfare, didn't really know anybody for real, and get married, and I'm in it, and things ain't right, and so, but there's no one I could like, hey, yo, like this is happening. Like, is that a normal thing? Like, I didn't have that gut. I didn't have that. And so I'm just going around thinking I know what's happening. I'm just gonna deal with it. And it's bubbling. And then we had a lunch meeting because V and I at that time worked in the city. We were like running to each other at lunch. And then we had a lunch, I remember, at Houston's. And we just talked. It was a good time. And then we were like, let's meet up. And V is a kind of friend, or older sister, I would say too, that is gonna check up on you. Like, hey, boo, hey, chickadee. She would say that's her nickname for her chickadees.
That's right.
Hey, chickadee. So we meet up again in nighttime, and I just felt compelled to just vomit, y'all. And like I think no, V is the first person I told, like, yo, like it's not working. And y'all should have seen her face, because it was like one of shock, because she said she knows my ex-husband, but it was like, girl, let me, and it was like, it was the thing I needed. You were the soft, safe place I needed to, and I just vomited everything. And the fear for me was judgment, and you placing a level of judgment, because that was your boy, is your boy, on me, that I didn't know what your reaction was. And your reaction was just what you talk about, no judgment, just listened. And I think that's probably why I still call you to this day. And sometimes when I call her, she's like, what happened? No, sometimes it's good too. But I just want to just pause, because you were that person for me. And it meant so much, because I was carrying a heavy one. I was carrying
Yeah.
a heavy one.
And Liv, so many times we suffer in silence.
Yeah.
So who knows how long you were trying to negotiate that and figure that out on your own. And I think a lot of times women just have to know, wives have to know, those in tough marriages, you are not alone. Others are going through. And when you feel alone, you make unwise decisions, and things seem insurmountable and bigger than they are. But when you get other people in there to give you perspective, it lets you know, okay, I could get through this. Sometimes you can fix it, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's not fixable. So I thank God that you were able to open up and just really release that, because who knows how long you were carrying that and how heavy that was for you.
I don't remember how long I was carrying it. I remember I released it, but it the other thing about that is you continue to check up, not in a weird, like, girl, it was just in a real way. I'm praying for you, and I'm hopeful for you, but it wasn't like I'm praying that you keep your marriage together. It was just like about me and about my sanity. And you continue to do it. And I didn't feel, again, going back to judgment, because I think that's such a huge thing, yes, for women, but also Christian women who are in a church and who feel they have to put up with this facade about what a marriage looks like when you are
Mm-hmm.
dying inside,
Yes.
as well. And like you continue that. And I would say if I'm honest, like married maybe 5, 6 years, at year 6, I knew it was a wrap. And I was married for 14 years.
Mm.
So we tried everything, and I wasn't supposed to be getting married in the first place, y'all. Let me just say that, because I didn't know what a Christian marriage was, but also I was not in a place mentally or emotionally to be a wife to anybody. So
Mm.
I take accountability for that. But I also just remember there's the knowing, and then there's now what I do about it, because I
Mm.
thought, dang, I made this promise to God. Now I have to break his promise. And then I thought
Mm.
that, well, he's not gonna love me anymore because God hates divorce.
Yeah.
And having to I remember I just had my daughter, and it's when you get quiet too. So I was on maternity leave, and it wasn't working, and I went away. Actually, I remember going away to a cabin and wrestling and crying, like ugly crying.
Mm.
And then God speaks, and I didn't hear him, but I just felt him speaking to my heart, saying like, "I love you. Like, there's nothing you're
Yeah.
gonna do that's gonna make me not love you." And it was what I needed to hear to then like figure out, okay, what does separation look like for me? What's this
Mm.
new journey? And it still took, there's the understanding it, and then there's like the actual doing. And for me, it took that long because I was just had young kids. It was a lot going on. But I do want to make sure I make that point, because sometimes people know, but once you know, that doesn't mean like it's instant and you get divorced. You still have to be wise about
Yes.
you go about the separation, depending on the circumstances, depending on the complexity, the nuances. There's kids involved. So I definitely felt like I needed to say that too, because it's not, the uncoupling on the separation is not fast and easy either.
Yeah.
And throughout that, I remember telling you, like, girl, I'm fine, Lane. And you were like, for real? Like, because I think you may have been praying for the conference. You were praying. Whatever you were praying for, you were like, okay, girl, let
And
me
we
know.
have to know, right? We may be praying one thing, but when we're speaking to someone, they've made a decision, you still want to be supportive, right?
Yeah.
Whether you agree, disagree, it's irrelevant. It's, well, what have you decided?
Mm-hmm.
And how can it? All right, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, no matter what you decide. That's how we have to be with our sisters. Like, I got you. I got you. Whatever happens. Because to your point, even after I'm separated, I still want my marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before I filed for a divorce. So I went through grief, but my grief was during the separation, you know, where I was still trying to make something come alive and revive it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I remember uh, just turning 30 and being separated, or I may have already filed for divorce by then,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking, I cannot believe this is my life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Lord, I thought I did it correctly. And now, I mean, no fault, me thinking no fault of my own, like he's gone, he's with someone else, and I'm probably never going to get married again. I'm 30, I'm a black female, I'm educated, and I'm a Christian. I'm done. I'm dead and
Mm-hmm.
stinking. Okay, Lord. And I'm
That
like,
is thinking.
I, I remember crying in my mother's arms. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe this is 30. 30 was such a sad year for me. And if folks know me, I am just naturally an upbeat person,
Mm-hmm.
smiling, happy. And I can't believe the grief of that time. I
Mm-hmm.
remember leaving work in tears. That's like, maybe after a hard conversation with him,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to
Mm-hmm.
convince him,
Mm-hmm.
and distraught and leaving. Like, what am I doing? Leaving work like some weak girl. I
Mm-hmm.
prided myself in being strong. Um, Black women pride themselves in being strong, maybe too strong sometimes, because
Mm-hmm.
when you're strong, no one typically asks if you need help. When
Mm-hmm.
you're strong, no one really checks on you.
That's true.
And I just remember just saying, I can't believe I'm just crying and being so quote unquote weak. And emotions don't make you weak, but that's how I was feeling. And so when I decided to get the divorce and I was almost divorced, my grief was done. Like I had turned a corner and I was like, all right, I'm done. So by the time it was done, I sort of was ready. I was ready for something new because I had grieved enough and it was over.
That's right. And because we talked about earlier that V and I had this conversation and technical difficulties, you said something that I want to go back to in that conversation around, I can't believe you're 30. I can't believe I gave him my 5 good years because you guys gave 5 years. And then you said, what did you said? Oh, but you're not going to give.
I'm not going to give him 5 more, being angry at him, not forgiving him. And that really was also a shift, a mind shift for me too. I'm looking, I'm like, I can't believe I dated him for 5 years and gave him like my 20s, like my good years, and I'm beefing with myself and with God. And then something said, but you will not give him another 5 years being angry at him and becoming unforgiving. And I think it was in that moment in my heart, I forgave him. And I never, had this deep conversation with him where like, you hurt me, I can't believe this, and I forgive you. I've seen him since then, and we've never had a conversation to really talk about what happened. But I forgave him in my heart because I was not going to give up another 5 years of my heart being hardened towards him. And I really think that set me up for the love that was to come. I allowed myself to find love because I didn't have all that baggage I was carrying with me. It was so key.
Yeah. So grieved, check. What were some of the practical things you did in that grieving / healing journey? I know you talk about your faith a lot too.
Yeah, I really, during that time, I was relatively mature in my faith. Like I had known the Lord for some time, but going through that and reading his word, what got me through that time in a healthy way was staying connected to the Lord, knowing that this wasn't punishment, knowing that he did not love me less, staying connected, not isolating myself, because the shame can make you isolate yourself and cause you to think everyone's talking about you. When people really loved on me, my church family loved on me. They prayed for me. I know that is the reason why I found someone, or someone found me so quickly after that. That was prayer. So staying connected to my church family, staying to my blood family. My family was so supportive. My mom, my aunt, my sister, they rallied around me. My ex-husband's baby's happy he never saw my sister during that time. She was not serving God then. So it would not have been pretty. Yo, I give it a buck. She's like, baby, had I seen him, had my friends and I seen him, it would have been a problem. But
shout out to big sis.
What? My sis is the true one. But they loved on me. They encouraged me. My college crew. So that really got me through. Not just my faith, but people loving on me and me not isolating myself. Sometimes sometimes we really withdraw and the depression can hit us and all of a sudden no one sees us. We're not going out. We're not talking. And I just encourage anyone that's going through something like that, don't pull away. Don't isolate. That is a way for your mind to really run away with you. And you don't want to do that. Just ease out that board of directors. Sometimes you just need a close few that can carry you. You don't need a whole boatload. If you got too many friends, then I gotta wonder how you choose your friends.
That was a Vanessa shade right there. Like,
I got a lot of associates. I got a few friends.
Yeah, I would say the same. So healing. and love wanders your way. And you said something fast. You like wander, she's doing a dance, y'all.
Girl, let me
Love
tell you.
wanders your way. Mm-hmm.
So I was married in 95.
95,
I
give me the timeline.
I was married again in 99. So obviously I had divorced and dated and fell back in love in a
And got
quick
married.
time for and got married. Okay. So I got married so quickly, some people thought he was the first husband because it was like,
No.
how are you? It's like you just collecting last names. You Jones, you Holiday. Okay, don't know what you are. You got so many driver's license. I went from Hamilton to Jones to Holiday. So
That's so
but
good.
no, I met my honey Craig at the gym where we both worked, and I was not looking for a relationship. I was good. I was content. I was
Mm,
content in my singleness. I was not eager to go and find anything else, which caused me to be more thoughtful about how I went about this dating thing again.
mm,
And
mm-hmm,
I made a key difference in how I dated this time.
mm-hmm,
So now with Craig, I explicitly told friends and church family
mm-hmm,
that you you can give me your opinion about him, aka you can speak into my life. You can tell me if if you think we are good together or if you got some concerns. I
mm-hmm,
don't have to believe and take in everything, but give me diverse opinions. Give me
mm-hmm,
diverse opinions because when you get that diversity, you're bound to make the right decision. When you get, even in the workplace, right? That's why we say diversity is good. You put it all in, you're going to make the right decision. I gave people permission. And what was so beautiful about Craig, he was not put off by that. I told him explicitly, I said, listen, I don't trust my own judgment, just solely my own judgment.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
said, I have blind spots. So you're going to be put up in front of a lot of folks.
mm-hmm,
Folks will be critiquing you. And because Craig is authentic and he is who he is and nothing to hide, he did not feel a way about that.
mm-hmm.
He did not feel a way about my mom checking him out, my aunt checking him out. He
Right.
didn't feel a way with a pastor checking him out, taking him out to dinner, and folks saying, oh, all right, he's nice, he's corny, but he's nice. I like corny. It's
Yeah,
fine. Good. Tell me what you really think.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and my honey was not intimidated by that at all. I love that about him, and he knew what he was getting with me.
Mhm, mhm. I love that because I think when you were talking about this time, you let people speak into your mind. Sometimes people take it too far, but then
Mm,
you said, because I acknowledge I have blind spots. That's so good, but also
mm,
so honest about us as women, but Black women who be like, I ain't nobody gonna tell nobody my business because listen, you need people who know you and you have blind spots. That's honesty.
yeah, and we have blind spots, and we also do need good judgment, right? I'm not letting just any old random person speak into my life. Like
Mhm.
I'm a Proverbs type of chick. I'm gonna read Proverbs every day, every month. There's 30 of them. I can read through it every month. So
Mhm.
you need good judgment and good discernment to know who to receive things from. And I do have to say I have a strong personality where I'm not shaken by people seeing
Mhm.
things differently than me. So I'm
Mhm.
not easily swayed. So it
Yeah.
needs to be a preponderance of it coming my
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
But you need the good judgment, and yes, you have to have humility to know
That's
I could be
true.
I could be wrong. Like I really like him, but you know what? He does have a anger issue. Oh,
Mm.
someone needs to check that. Okay, that could be a problem. That could
Mhm.
be a problem. So I tell women, listen, don't overlook. Don't overlook. And you and I were talking previously, and I was also saying, you need to know that what you see in this person, you can truly accept and not
Ooh, B,
tolerate.
that's right.
You
Yeah.
need to know you can accept what this person is giving you. They need to know they can accept what you are giving them and not just tolerating it. Because if you're just tolerating it, when you get married, what you've tolerated will blow. It, it, it will come to a head.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you truly accept someone like, hey, this is how they make decisions, this is how they speak, this is how they move, and I
Mm-hmm.
could accept that about them. Craig knew, I told you, I'm domestically disabled. I don't cook. I wasn't going to change. You catching me? I'm over 30. I'm not.
Right.
This is what
This is it.
this is me.
That's
This is
what,
what you're
yeah.
gonna get. So
Yeah. Yeah.
don't try to woo me and think, later on she'll change. And I'm not bragging about it, but we're gonna be 25 years in, and if he
Shut
could
up.
tell you what I ever made for him,
Yeah.
nothing. Okay, that's what he does. But he could accept that about me. He
Mhm.
could accept that. So please, when you're dating, don't do a bait and switch. Show
That's
people who you really are so they can love, either choose to love you or not to love you. Like,
mhm.
I remember Craig and I were dating and we were still getting to know each other. And I felt like he was passing judgment on me on something. And I was like, this is who I am. So you need to know whether or not this is what you want. And
Mhm.
obviously this is what he wanted, but he had to get to know me. I'm not gonna hide and
Mhm.
be something I can't live up to. That Proverbs 31 woman, is it Proverbs 30? Proverbs 30 woman, they put that up there as some goal. But
Girl, was I not?
it's
I never reached it because well, I'm divorced. It was a hard, that was a bar boy.
but it should never be put up as a bar. It's like that's
Yeah.
to the husband. This is how you should treat your wife. This is an example of a woman. It is
Mhm.
not the goal, but
Mhm.
it's always read at some wedding,
Mhm.
at some. No, I don't wake up early to make sure the whole household has food. I make reservations. That's what I do. I don't.
Go, go. But when I'm hearing you tell your current marriage and your past marriage, I also hear the level of emotional maturity in some of you, even how you approach this go around too, which I believe you wouldn't have had if you hadn't healed from that, but also taken
Mm,
a deeper look at yourself and also take ownership of some of the things that you missed in your yellow
mm-hmm.
flags slash red flags too. So I want to just commend you for the level. I mean, I know that was a long time ago, but the level of vulnerability and
Mm,
being open to having people give you different opinions, but also to sharing this with us, but also putting Craig in a position to also see you. Because I think a lot of people are afraid for the person they're dating to see their real
yes.
self because then they're afraid that of rejection.
Yes, that's so true because marriage is all about vulnerability, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says,
Mm-hmm.
Adam and Eve were together and they were naked. That's
Mm-hmm.
this vulnerability. And so whoever
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be with, you want to be vulnerable. Like, here are
Yeah.
my insecurities. I got a lot of insecurities. I don't think I could do this. I don't think I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fears. And I found in Craig and Craig's found in me someone I could be vulnerable with and really let him know where I'm afraid. He can let me know where he's afraid, and we're not going to use it against each other,
Yeah.
right? So once I tell him that, once he tells me that, when he gets me upset, I'm not going to bring that up and know how to hurt him and then do that. And I did find that in Craig, like someone that's going to love me for me and just build me up. Even speaking to you, encouraging me, go, yeah, do it. He's an encourager. The whole two candles, not blowing them out. My gifts, my talents. I
I
found
love
someone
that.
that is going to continue to encourage me to build that out the same way I'm doing for him. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
your biggest fan.
I
We call ourselves Team Holiday. It's us against everybody. We've been through some stuff. We've experienced some hurt together, and it's ride or die. Okay, we got this. This us against the world. And I'm fortunate. It's not like perfect marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and I do get a little nervous if people put us up too high because I know we're still human.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. I gotta say to people, it's a good. We have a good marriage.
Yeah.
We fuss, we do whatever, but we enjoy each other. Like my first marriage, I can't remember a time where we could just sit and laugh and enjoy each other. It was pretty
Wow.
much we were around other people. Like
Mm-hmm.
we enjoy being around other folks, but in the house, nah, it wasn't that like love and peace and joy. But with Craig and I, we're happy together. Like we could sit in the house, talk, chit chat. We can drive and not speak, and we good.
Mhm.
That's that level of comfort where you like silence is okay.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, I hear you loud and clear about not putting you all on a pedestal, but I can say my interactions with you both, even when I was married, it was clear that you guys enjoyed and liked each other, even in how you guys interacted with one another. But also, you guys showed that it's attainable
Mm,
as well, in attainable in an authentic way. Very few times do I
yeah.
encounter, because I know too much now. Like I'm married and I'm like, ooh, they don't really like each other. And I'm like, ooh, awkward. Let me figure out an exit out this conversation. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I felt safe to share with you, because I think I was like, well, how they do it? So maybe I need to learn from the real ones, right? And just getting to know who you are and your level of just authentically you is
Mm,
just so great to hear, because I mean, easily you probably could have been like, I'm never getting married again, which is kind of,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to say that, but my mind is like, mm, mm.
No,
But
Liv, you're like, mm-mm.
the answer is no right now. I'm not gonna say I'm on
Okay.
forever, but the answer is like I'm now 40-ish, and it's a lot to deal with. So the person who's coming, let's pray for them, because it's a lot. And I'm a lot. It's a lot.
But whoever it is, I tell women they're going to be able to handle who you are. Not that we don't want to grow, but
Mhm.
who we are at our core, we won't
That's
have
true.
to diminish that.
That's
Like, we're assertive, we're smart, we have point of view. I'm not the type that wants to be in the kitchen talking with women about just
cooking.
cooking or whatever. I,
You were gonna say
I
that.
wanna I wanna be in the living room talking about topics of the day,
Right.
giving my
Yeah.
point of view, debating. And if you want to relegate me to some kitchen table talk, nah, that's not gonna work. Yeah. Mm-mm.
So you talk about you and Craig and this is for the women who are like, I'm divorced, I'm lonely, and I don't know, maybe for me, if I'm doing this again, and you happen to find someone, and now what? You talk about you guys' approach to counseling other couples. Can you kind of talk through some of the things that you guys do with them, and also to some of the questions you should be asking yourself about whether or not this person actually gets me and
Mm,
is compatible to me. What is that? What do you guys do when you do?
yeah. Craig and I, we walk a couple through, it's called a symbis, where you take this questionnaire and it comes out with a report, and then we start to walk couples through some real practical questions that sometimes if you're wrapped up into the emotion of what you're
Mm,
of your dating, you don't take a
mhm.
step and you don't take time to step back and really explicitly talk about expectations.
Ooh,
Do
mhm.
you expect me to stay home? Do you expect me to go to work? So roles and expectations. We don't talk about our communication styles. Like
Mhm.
how do you solve conflict? How are we going to solve conflict? We don't talk about money. Are you a
Mm.
spender or a saver? You need to have explicit, because if you do not if you do not explicitly talk about those things, debt, like how are we
Yeah.
handling this? How much debt you bringing in?
Mhm.
The whole journey of becoming one is so difficult that if you
Yeah.
don't have these explicit conversations,
Mhm.
you will set yourself up for a rough ride.
Yeah.
So we're having Craig and I are having the questions. So how did it feel when he said that? It's like,
Mhm.
oh, well, I feel sometimes that he's not hearing me. That those are red bells for me. Like if a woman
Mm.
is not feeling heard already
Mm.
and you're just dating. So we ask real practical questions.
Mhm.
You and I were talking. I try to do more guided discovery. I'm asking you questions so you really discover and within yourself whether or not this is for you. Because when we come to the conclusion, then it sticks versus someone outside telling you, you shouldn't get married. You guys should separate. If you don't really believe it, you just go around, same person behind, your counselor's back, your pastor's back, you still doing your thing. We try to do guided discovery by asking the questions so that they decide, what do you think you should do here? Well, what do you think you should do here? And if someone's being honest, they typically come up with the right answer, even if it's painful. That's why you need someone else around you to help guide that. So you say, what I hear you saying is that you have reservations and you want to wait. Sometimes you just have to give voice to what people are
I can only imagine you in a counseling session, you saying, and they look at you like, what you mean?
Especially
the data is sad.
Especially if I'm just with the woman. A lot of times I like to get women before, again, they're even engaged, to really ask them those questions. Like, do you think this is healthy for you? Is this a healthy relationship for you? And have them just sit with that and then say, you know what? Hey, whatever you decide. And I've had them go back and forth. I'm breaking up. We're back together. I'm breaking up. We're back together. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So Craig and I try to do that guided discovery through some practical questions, because sometimes in a Christian circle, it could be so spiritual and there's no practical help. It's all pray together and you'll solve it. Like I tell couples, Craig and I don't pray together every day. Like I pray every day and he prays every day and we read our word every day, but we're not coming together like sackcloth and ashes every day praying. It's like, I don't even want you to think that. And so,
no, but I'm so glad you're saying that, because I think that is actually what people expect of marriage. I promise you, that's what I thought. I thought that's what we needed to do every day.
And I've heard people counsel that way. And I just keep it, again, a buck. I'm like, listen, even the folks telling you should do that are not doing that. And Craig and I don't do it, and we don't even think we need to. When we're going through a crisis, like we've gone through hard times, job loss, sickness, that, you know what? We actually are getting up every morning and praying together, because we have to buckle down because stuff is happening. And then sometimes it's just a season of blessing and favor, and we're still doing it, but we're not each morning like, okay, let's get on our knees, let's fast. And, so I wish we would keep it practical for Christians and not set a bar so high that when you don't attain it, you feel like a failure and you don't even tell anyone about it.
Yeah. And I mean, hindsight's 2020 always, right? Because even as I think about my ex and I, we dated for 8 months, got engaged in 8 months. It was so fast. And it was
even Simba said, "Oh, if you date for less than a year, that's a sign." See, I would have been able to tell you.
You would have.
It's too short.
You would have told me. But also, too, here's the thing: we never were alone together.
That's the.
No, I mean, because we were so ingrained. At least don't be alone, because you're gonna fall into sin. You're gonna fall into each other, and so we never had the time to even explore.
That's crazy. I never knew that.
Are saying no. And because here's the other. I'm going to talk about it, because this individual was also a part of ministry and leadership. It was an extra protection around that as well. And in my mind, I'm like, let me not, because I'm a stumbling block. You see, I'm a problem. Mama wasn't saved from the womb. So I was like, let me not be a stumbling block. Let me behave myself, air quotes, because of who he was. And oh my God, let me not cause this man. He's my brother.
To stumble. Yes, my brother. See? Oh my goodness.
But I promise. And there was just a level of naive that I had, and I'm listening to what others who are not practical me, that sure enough, I changed my dress. I changed, because I had the skirt. I had the pencil skirts. Now I'm small already, but I made sure stuff was being seen. Like that was too much. I am too much. But in my mind, I changed completely not who I am at all. I made myself small. And
They
I
make
couldn't sustain, that's it. I can't sustain it. I have a big personality. Like you see me coming from a mile away. Like there
we
she
got
comes.
presents when we enter a room, folks
Yes.
know, and that's when Craig and I dated. Again, I'm older now. I have my own
Yeah.
apartment. I'm in
Yeah.
my 30s. So that thing of dating in groups and not being alone, we have to use wisdom and temper that. I'm a grown woman with my own spot. I'm not going on dates with another couple.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I but you're right. That's how that was the teaching.
But we
And
took
you
no, B, we took it to another level. Like
yeah,
never
I can't
one time. I'm gonna keep it one time alone and it was fine, but like that was it.
yo, Liv, that's crazy.
Why
You
why
sound
where was people to slap me into some reality? Because baby, in my mind, I was like, okay, this is what you do in Christian. This is this, yeah, and I'm giving you the high pitched voice because that's sure enough what I was saying to myself. I'm like, okay, it's weird, but okay.
I want to please the Lord. I
I
want to
want to
serve
please the.
God.
I just wanted to please the Lord, and I wanted to do it the right
Me
Christian way,
too.
whatever that meant.
Me too. We
And I
and
think
we
the Lord was
still
like, no, boo
do.
boo, you doing it. You all the way left. Come back, girl. Nope, I ain't
And
here. I just
and I know sometimes women wonder, couples like, man, Lord, why did it take so long for me to get this truth? Like, why did I go so long under that teaching or under this almost like oppression? Like, God, the Lord wants us to be free, not free to, sin, but just free to have an abundant life, to be joyful. Like Craig and
yeah.
I are joyful. We have our issues and stuff happens to us, but man, Lord, I'm blessed. Thank you for that, Lord. Thank you
Yeah.
for that. All that I've been through. Some people say, I don't look like what I've been through. Thank you, Lord.
You sure enough don't with these cheekbones and this skin. Yes.
Girl, gonna
Yes.
be
Yes.
57 in May. We're married
Wow.
25 years, Lord willing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Goals.
Craig is going to be 60 in April. Okay.
Wow. Just
60,
don't
big
look it.
60. Yes.
Wow.
God
Wow.
is good
So you
for
talk
real.
about you don't look like what you've been through. Talk to our listeners who are going through V and talk to the listeners who maybe trying to give up and trying to figure this out. Talk to them
Yeah, Liv,
way.
if I could, leave your audience, those that are listening with anything, one, it is that you are loved by God.
Yeah.
You are loved by God. No matter what decisions you've made, mistakes you've made, um, the situation that you may find yourself in now where you feel unloved, that
Mm-hmm.
you are loved by God.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that is all you need to hold on to get you through whatever season that you are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember you are loved by God. And because you are loved by God, know that nothing is wasted by God.
Mm.
Nothing
You
is
about to take
wasted
us to
by
church. I'm gonna
God.
take notes.
Yeah,
Nothing is
just
wasted.
nothing is wasted. Not your grief, not your mistakes, not your sorrow, not the betrayal. Nothing is wasted by God. Somehow He's able to make it all work together
Mm-hmm.
for good.
Yeah.
Somehow He works it all together for good. I don't know why I had to go through a divorce, a failed marriage, that time of grief, but I know what I have right now, and who knows why, but God worked it all together. And that's what He will do for anyone that's out there listening. That's how mighty He is. Nothing is wasted, and you are loved by God.
I love that. Here, I know why. You might have to gone through that because I needed you. Because I promise you,
Mm,
I may have still been married, V, if I was still in that the place we all went and worshiped, if I was still in understanding doctrine the way it was, I may have still been there if you hadn't reached out to me and said whatever you said for me to feel comfortable enough to speak. Not saying you pushed me down
Right.
one avenue or one lane or another. But I mean, I strongly believe that you were put into my life because you went through that, because I wouldn't have listened to a person who hadn't gone through
Mm,
divorce, because divorce is so hard. And
yes.
separation is so hard and lonely. And
Yes.
only if you've gone through divorce do you understand. And that's why I created this community, because you might need to just plug in a podcast to be able to go through the thing when you can't get to your friend or you can't get to your board of directors. And so I believe you went through that for me and for now this community. And that's probably one of the reasons why we had technical difficulties and this message wasn't able to come out, because I think that is, if we were to take away that one thing, is that nothing is wasted.
Yes. Nothing is wasted. It's always for someone else. So what
Yeah.
you said right there, what I went through was to help others like yourself. What you went through is going to help all these thousands of people that will listen.
I like
That's
that.
why you would do that.
Well, this is where we leave you. V, thank you so much for your vulnerability, for your authenticness, for just your Brooklyn ways, because it's so honest and so real. I love it. It just makes me feel so light. Thank you for always pouring into me and for just praying for me. Because y'all be calling her, be like, V, so, and usually it's a text, and she's like, what happened? This time when I text her, she asked me what happened. I was like, no, it's good. It's good. So I thank you for always picking up the phone and for always responding to my text messages. And I love you so, so much.
Thank you. And I love you. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. If this conversation resonated with you, if it was for you, hit a like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, friends. Thank you for listening. We want to express our heartfelt gratitude to our incredible community. Your strength and resilience shine brightly, and together we're creating a safe space filled with solace, guidance, and inspiration. If you resonated with today's episode, share with anyone who might find comfort and support this conversation. Let's spread warmth and encouragement and hope. Join the Lived community on social channels. It's Lived Stories on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, where you can connect with like-minded women, share your story, and access even more trusted resources. Until next time, take care and remember, you're not alone in this journey. You are stronger than you think, and you can do hard things.